Welcome back to our nightcap. Carlos and Chantel. Cheers to my beautiful queen.
Another cheers.
Yes.
Ah,
Good.
it's a good one.
That's a good one. Well, it's been an interesting week. When I glance back at our week, yeah, it was actually pretty uneventful
When I
as
glanced back
travel,
at our week, it was uneventful.
as far as our traveling goes. Never uneventful. I'm processing and things we're going through in life, and victories and amazing breakthroughs in people's lives and results. Those are always fun. We kind of had an engagement. I guess we haven't talked about that yet. That was pretty cool.
We haven't?
No, we haven't.
Talk about it? Oh, I guess.
No, we haven't. But it's official, right? They made it
If it's
official.
Facebook official, you know it's official.
We kind of knew about it in the planning stages. But yeah, Richard and Lavina Yoder, congratulations on your engagement.
Woo-hoo. Super exciting.
Powerhouse couple, right? Amazing story. Quick engagement. A lot of people like say what? And when you find out, people hear this story, they're like, what? They just went on one date. But the backstory, they actually knew each other before, which that even makes it more cool, right? Because the reality of the story is it's like
reconnection.
it was. And they reconnected through Epic Your Life and what we do. And it's so fascinating because neither one of them joined because the other one was in. They were, Lavina had joined and started working with us. Powerful, had been to a retreat, mentoring her. She's super amazing, super committed to, working on her identity. She's amazingly skilled at even triggers to triumph. She's been doing well at that. At our last retreat, her and Phyllis, Jesse, and then no, it was her and Phyllis, right? That did the triggers to triumph and helped with people's identity. It was really awesome between the two of them. It was really cool to watch them in action. So yeah, Phil's another one that's been with us for quite a while. And so, but mine is new and she got involved and then, yeah, worked on herself. And then here came Richard and joined and come to find out they knew each other. So it's like, what? Wait, how is this possible? They hadn't seen each other in 2 years and talked in a while. And all of a sudden they're on our school platform, just like a lot of you that are watching our school.com Epic Your Life is our specific location on the school platform. And so yeah, they reconnected through our platform originally and then started communicating a little bit. And yeah, then they met up at our Epic Your Life event in Indiana. And now they're engaged. It's pretty awesome. And working on planning that wedding.
Super exciting.
We love it. So that's pretty cool news. I think it might have happened. I can't remember when it happened. Sorry. I just,
I think it was
exact date.
Friday.
I need to mark it down. But
not this last Friday, the Friday before was when it happened.
Gotcha. So, some other amazing breakthroughs has been just amazing communication with some of our clients and helping get set up on getting their businesses all set up on the digital footprint. That's been cool. Our men's call tonight was really cool. The Windy Road to Excellence. And one of the things in the book that was a good point was what we want to do the least. A lot of times we need to do that the most. I'm like, yeah, I know that story. I know how that is. And yeah, for sure. I know that.
Tell me more about that.
Well, Oftentimes, I mean, I deal with discomfort just like anybody else. If I feel like a client doesn't want to work with me or doesn't want to talk to me, it's everything that's in me to have to connect with them and chase them, especially if they've told me so, so I have to push through my own fears and doubts, and even being uncomfortable with thinking, somebody don't like me, or I've upset someone. It's funny because as men, we talked about this, like when you have a disgruntled client or a customer is in their business, that's a hard thing to go like, okay, I got to go talk to them. I need to just do it. And it is. So it's still difficult for me to the very thing I need to do, I don't want to do, right? I want to do that the least. And you do it, and then you find out the truth, because usually what we think is not even close to truth, just saying. And that's awesome to connect with people, and then you understand where they're coming from, and then you help bring clarity and then give them what they want. And then things can become, or give them, you know what I mean? You can work through things.
So it's interesting because like that's really truly the case with any relationship, right?
Yeah.
If there is conflict and we make assumptions, then we just feed whatever story that we're creating in our mind, right? But if we press in and we ask questions to gain understanding, it then allows both parties, number one, to feel validated, and number two, to gain understanding, right? Which is so profound, and it's like so missed. It's so missed.
Yeah.
Like assumptions make you miss it
And keep you stuck.
and keep you stuck.
Yep.
You get caught up in your own shit.
There was one of the conversations with the men too. It was super relatable, I'm sure, to a lot of us. And we've had to face it where you're dealing with people. You said it recently. You're like, you get a lot more results with honey than you do with, what do you call it?
Catch more flies with honey
Than
vinegar.
Than vinegar. It's real. Like in relationship or when you're working with people, whether they're your employees, clients, my wife, my daughter. Criticism doesn't get you very far. But that's the thing. Well, I'm paying them, right? Well, how's that working for you? You're paying them, they're your employee. They should do what I say. And really, a lot of times, the best way to have people work well with you is for you to know them well. I want you to write that down. You can quote that. That was pretty good, actually. The best way to get people to work well with you is for you to get to know them well. Meaning, like we teach form, right? And getting to know their sign. So you've heard of this family, occupation, recreation. Your message is, how can I serve you? How can I bless them? Right? What can I do to bless them and give to them? So you discover that by their signs, strengths, interests, goals, and needs. And then the hybrid of even that, I talked about this in men's call, is like the one question, if you only could ask one question, the one question that would get to someone's like knowing you care for them with one question. And I've asked a lot of people this, a lot of leaders, and they all agree with me once I tell them the question is, what are your dreams? Now, I will say that some people don't even know what their dreams are, but the fact that you're interested in asking them can bring tears to their eyes just by that one question. Really. Because so my point is with the hybrid of finding out someone's sign, and I know the G stands for goals and signs, strengths, interests, goals, and needs, but there's something a little deeper about the word dream. What are your dreams? And especially if you're going to help them do something about that.
Well, and I think it's even even like when you said that some people don't even know what their dreams are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't know what their heart's desire is because they haven't allowed themselves to feel it, right? You experienced that last week.
Yeah, true.
With the tractor, even, right? Piece of equipment.
The
It's a
dream.
little boy's dream to have a tractor with a backhoe. Like they drive on the freeway or down the road and you see a construction site with all this big, heavy equipment. And they're like, eyes are this big. Like, I mean.
Sometimes we don't know what we don't know about what we want, right? And what our dreams are. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, you don't like, I would say that there was like hints revealing that dream,
Just how deep it was.
hints of like, oh, there's, my anniversary present or my birthday present, right? Just have it delivered to the property. And, so there's hints like that. But when there was, when he actually rented a piece of equipment and came in and like there was emotion attached to it, like that's when it's deep seated, right? That's a deep heart's desire. That's a dream that is unaccessed and unrevealed, that has somehow made its way to the surface. And we have to press in. And I think it was like in that moment, like he's emotional about this piece of equipment and like how he felt on it, right? And it just revealed such a deep place. And then even like to say, let's go. And to see his like wheels spinning, like, what? What?
Permission to launch.
What? Like you could see it was like a data breach. It was like processing, processing, processing. Took him a little bit,
Yeah.
you know? But it was really powerful. It was a really powerful experience. So for those of you who don't know, we ended up purchasing a tractor last week.
Kubota. I'm a Kubota guy.
We
Yeah.
desperately
Has all the cool attachments. It's a loader
and
and
use it
backhoe.
on the property, and it was a really powerful breakthrough for Carlos in the sense of revealing a place where he didn't allow himself to dream. He didn't allow himself to, you know, feel worthy of purchasing something for himself.
Yeah, what is that question I asked last week? It was a pretty profound breakthrough question too, is what are you not allowed to want?
Yeah, and we talked about it on like the Coffee Connects and stuff,
Yeah.
but
So again, that's a question just to review all the time. And why? What do you believe about that thing that you want and why? So back to the men's call. With that said, when you do tap into someone's dreams like that or asking them what are their dreams and getting to know them, they want to partner with you then. They love working with you then. And they'll be motivated to help you. So we were discussing that a little bit in the men's call about a situation where um, one of the guys had employed someone to do some projects for them. And it's funny because this comes up in a lot of my calls with clients, helping them build their team. It's like, okay, I can do a lot of this stuff by myself, and sometimes I think I do better. I know this is my feeling. And so why don't I just do it myself? Well, I would tell you that I do believe in doing things by yourself. You can. You can probably make 500,000, maybe even 1 million. But beyond that, it usually takes help and teams. It takes a team. So you got to learn how to lead. So then to learn how to lead and motivate people to want to work with you, you got to find out what they want, find out what their dreams are, and then help them go after it. So it's a beautiful journey.
Well, I think another part of that is to release them in that, to take ownership. Otherwise, we create codependency in the midst of it, especially if you have somebody who, in leadership knows they can get shit done and has a belief that sometimes it's a waste of time to teach a new team member something, right? So I can do it better. So then you want to control how they do it.
Right.
Right. I mean, that's kind of the natural for some leadership who, like I know that for me, I can operate like that in my kitchen. Right. I know that I'm gonna clean it better. I'm gonna
Right.
So when I empower somebody to do something, they take ownership of it. I can't criticize it, right? Because it's them taking ownership of it. And if we squash that, then they don't want to do it.
Right.
Then they want to do nothing. Then they get paralyzed. Then they require your help for everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what creates the codependent dynamic, whether it's between parent and child or leader or team member or, boss, employee, all of those different things, right? Partnerships. We have to, ownership is a huge factor.
It is. What about you? How was your women's call?
It was good. We were a little lower in numbers because we had some ladies taking care of some stuff. But we were talking about small wins, and really creating space to acknowledge even effort from not only ourselves but from other people, right? So kind of, even along the lines of what you're talking about as far as leadership, like what does that look like when we are giving somebody a prompt or a cue or something that you want them to do and they make an effort towards something? Are we taking the time to acknowledge that effort and to celebrate that effort, or are we throwing 10 more things at them that overload them and then squash the effort that they took and the sprout that they had? So it was really focusing on like just dialing it back and being able to acknowledge effort.
Yeah, it's good. Effort might take you longer, but you're not quitting. I think that's the key.
Well, it definitely takes you longer, especially if you are of a personality that like wants to fire off a bunch of directions and expect somebody to be able to follow all your directions.
Right.
Right? If
True.
If we haven't like created the space and time to acknowledge one bite at a time, sometimes it's all people can handle.
Yeah, I agree. So, speaking of effort, pretty crazy workout today.
Sorry, I missed it. Sorry, not sorry.
Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm sorry. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We upped our game. We work out 3 days a week with a
I might go back tomorrow,
Kelly,
depending on how I feel.
and she's an awesome trainer.
Yes.
And so we work out 3 times a week with her. And it was pretty brutal.
I didn't go today. I stayed in bed. I know I went back to bed.
Yeah, there's a difference. You were up like normal.
I was up like normal, but I made the choice to go back to bed. Today is I was heavy on the cramps.
Yeah. And I think that's a good topic to talk about. We have it come up with some of our clients, of course, of the whole topic of women's period and their cycles, and men's go through cycles too, whether you want to admit it not or not, you do. But women's cycles in the premenstrual syndrome, PMS, prior to starting her period, which that's when the cramps come on too, is typically, not all the time. Everyone's gonna be like, how do you know? The point is that typically the cramps start when the period starts.
I don't often go back to bed when I have cramps. Like I normally am able to push through. For some reason, Hazel didn't get her cramps. I got a double dose.
That's what she said. I took it for the team.
This was Hazel said that. Way to take one for the team, Mom. I have no idea why. It was just, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. It doesn't often knock me off my feet.
Yeah, that's true. And she's here tonight. Look at this. She rested half a day.
So I canceled half my day.
Yeah, she rescheduled some of her appointments. Yeah, and then showed up to the women's call.
I didn't.
No, that was awesome. But what I was gonna say, is like this whole PMS thing. Let's talk a minute about it. We have a different theory. We look at things a little different than everyone else. And I think again it plays into marriage mastery and mastering the relationship of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
We truly, truly see it and have adopted it as a superpower. You're like, say what? My wife, you don't know my wife. I can already you don't know my wife. Superpower's right. She gets stronger and throws more stuff at me. She has a harder punch. By the way, I like that video. That was funny. Scaring that lady got scared and she punched her husband in the nuts.
Wait, what?
You sent me a video on like
when was that?
Instagram or Facebook. Who knows? I don't get your messages sometimes for a long time.
I don't even remember it.
Yeah, you sent me a video where he was putting out electrical or something. And
yeah.
That was funny. I could totally picture us doing something like that. I'd mess with her next. Like I'm getting shot.
Yeah.
And anyways, and the woman starts screaming like, and she's totally screaming like freaking out. What do I do? Because he's being shocked, right? Supposedly. And then he looks at her. He looks at her and starts laughing like, got you. And she's like, he's on a ladder and she's like, punches him. And that's something she would do too. But guess what? Got him right in the jewels. And he dropped to the floor hardcore. It was funny. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I meant to hit you in the leg.
I would totally do that.
Yeah. So anyways, it was funny. It's a funny.
So don't ever do that.
Real. No, for real. Like she scared me big time yesterday. I was on a phone with a client and I was making use of time. So I'm in the back of the truck talking to this client. And she goes into the store and I'm in the back seat. Hazel's driving. She's in the front seat. They go into the store and they come back and I'm like leaning up against the window talking. I'm all into my conversation, giving some great wisdom. I was like in the moment. And this crazy sucker, like just about breaks the window. She goes, boom, boom, boom. And I thought for sure I just got hit by a truck. Like she hit it so hard, you guys. She's a little nuts sometimes. I seriously think I lost
damn PMS.
I think I lost a little bit of the spirit in my body. I felt my spirit like go, That's how like I am kind of spooked sometimes because I'm so on alert, right? That's my excuse. Hazel likes to scare me too. But I'm serious. I was like leaning against the window. I swear, no! Like I swear my body like had an out-of-body experience. Like because I thought for sure somebody hit our truck, like another truck just because we're in a parking lot. So I just thought for sure something bam just totally hit the truck. So in that moment, I'm like, no, get hit by a truck or something. And it's my wife going boop, boop, boop on the window. Or hit it hard though, not soft, not playful. We're talking accident sounding slam. I thought the window was going to be busted. I thought the window was coming in, the door was caving in, something was because she hit it so hard, and my head was against this.
I literally had a stomach ache. I laughed so hard.
Y'all, I was like, man, you just scared me so bad. I'm not even gonna try to fake that one. That was real. The spirit, the Holy Spirit left my body. Hallelujah. Had an out of body experience. I saw heaven in that moment. Anyways, so that was yesterday. But so the PMS thing, superpower. We have interviewed quite a few women over the years because we work with a lot of different couples, thousands of people over the years, thousands. And we have we've talked about it. We said, what if that God designed it, because God did design it for childbirth, right? Without the cycle and the whole process, a woman couldn't have. It has to be a cycle to create life. Okay, it's just the reality of it. But what if God designed it to be a very intuitive time, the week before your period? And so we've been having some conversation with some of our clients about this too, as they're going through this process. And the way you see it will be also the way then you receive it, which then affects how you handle it, right? All those things play together. Just like in life, if I see this, Carlos did used to see this, because this is alcohol. It's not cream soda or unalcoholed wine or something, whatever they call it. Unfermented wine. There we go. I used to see this as um, a sin. I'll just be real. I did. To drink alcohol was a sin, was wrong. And so through that lens, and anybody that drank, I had judgment towards. So there you go. So my point being is that that was my view of people. And so then I thought they were in sin. I wouldn't get to know them necessarily. There's a lot of judgment there and excuse your view, right? So that's what I'm saying, even about then now taking it to the whole situation.
PMS.
PMS. How we view it matters.
How we view it does matter. And then, so I think it's important too, because a lot of women will be like, I just got to keep my crazy to myself, right? We have this view of our PMS cycle as I'm crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And, I have a very small amount of self-control, right? During PMS. I'm more vocal, I'm more irritable. So
Yeah.
then, I verbalize it. Well, what is that actually? If we look at it, if we flip the script and we see it through a different lens, then we can see the opportunity that we have there, the opportunity that we have to press in. So Carlos and I, a long time ago, I don't remember how long ago,
Yeah.
but we started kind of on a journey of reevaluating like what it looked like,
Yeah.
right? He
I'd say
had
it was at least 10 years ago.
yeah,
Probably.
well, yeah, because
2011, we're 13. It's probably a couple of years into our marriage.
yeah. Um, we started like just flipping the script and seeing it from a different lens.
And
And
then interviewing women
he
too.
started pressing in a little bit more, right? Like, because he discovered that my response was different, or I, you know, could sense more things. Um, I had more clarity, while I was PMSing, and he could, because he was on such a journey of personal growth and development, he like really wanted to know,
Yeah.
like humbly wanted to do better, right? So recognizing that it was in that season, in that time frame when I was like exercising that like communication of like identifying things that he could do better in or ways that maybe were challenges. I could see things clearly. I
You to
could,
improve.
yeah, I mean,
Just that
even
time.
not just about him, but in general, like I would have, certain for life,
Yeah,
business, all of
absolutely.
our kids, all of those things, right?
When she views it that
So
way, she can really
it
tap
is a
into it.
superpower. And so we decided to call it a superpower and like press into it as such.
And it was interesting. I was just describing this and I was thinking about it like, if you think about the spider senses with Spider-Man, if you think about even Superman, if you like Superman, I like Superman a lot. Clark Kent, when he was a young boy and he was coming of age and starting to mature his senses, and then he could hear everything, right? Every thought, every word. So I remember watching one series, same thing with spider senses, it's just overwhelming, right? And that's again, again, based on my interviewing women, I'm not a woman. I just like asking questions. I take lots of notes, and I've interviewed hundreds of women, hundreds, and they have all said, yeah, that's true. But if you think about like even Superman and Spider-Man, if they would have not taken these senses that were overwhelming them, it took a level of maturity and growing and understanding that it was a superpower, right? In the beginning, it was overwhelming for them. I remember seeing Superman when he's a little boy, right? And he's like in the closet at the school because it's maturing and he's hearing all these voices and hearing everyone talk in all the rooms and because he can totally hear and he can see and he's just closing his eyes and he's in a fetal position. He locked the door and he's freaking out. And his mom has to come down there to the school, right? Clark, come on, it's mom. It's me, it's mom. And listen to my voice, Clark. I'm not gonna get in tears because of mother's voice, right? Listen to my voice, listen to my voice. I don't know why that's making me emotional. I think because it's the father's voice and Papa, but even the spirit comes and says, hear my voice. It's okay. It's okay. And I remember that in Superman and because there are times too, if we are willing to tap into it, the spirit will give us such sensitivity, right? If we ask for it, and I've experienced some things that are pretty overwhelming at times, and I do believe men go through cycles too. So there you go. Maybe it's my week.
It's your,
I'm doing all the crying now.
Sensitivity.
Hazel's really ruthless when I start crying. It's like, yeah, making fun of me. So anyway, his point being is like, I can just picture that. Like she shows up and she says, just listen to my voice, Clark. Listen to my voice. I know you can hear me. She's just whispering really quiet. This is your mother. It's okay, Clark. It's okay. Open the door and lock it. I'm here. This can be okay. I know you can hear me. Because she knew his superpowers were maturing and you could hear her. And sure enough, he unlocks the door and then he just embraces his mama. So my point in saying that is like, it is very overwhelming, right? For women, especially if they continue to think it's a curse and continue to believe that, they're suffering through this. Think about that. The superpower of this little boy is so overwhelming. And he had to learn to control it in the sense of having discipline of emotions, right? That's what self-discipline, self-control is, the emotions. To master the emotions, it doesn't change what's happening. It's changing of what we do with the overwhelm, right? And that's what is super powerful. I think of the Father, Papa God and the Spirit. All he does tell us it's gonna be okay. And hear his voice. And that's like that mama coming to Clark. It's kind of a beautiful picture.
It's interesting. I just had a memory of when we were in Costa Rica doing that training, that Krav Maga training.
Yep, that's right.
And
it's really
was
good.
blindfolded.
Yep.
So they did an exercise and they blindfolded us and set out like all kinds of like obstacles and barricades,
things you could trip over,
things that you could trip over, weights, you name it, like all over the place.
Yep.
And it was a couples thing.
Yep. Yep, you're right. This is so good.
And it was overwhelming because you had all of these other couples who were trying to their husband or wife to the other side.
It's like 12 people, I think, screaming, yelling to try to get, because it was a contest.
It was a contest. But it was your experience. Your experience was really powerful.
Yeah. Well, I was blindfolded, and I said, when she said my name, that helped to zero in on her voice. Because I'm telling you, everyone's yelling to try to get their husbands to hear them. But really, it didn't have to do with the yelling. It had to do with I could isolate her voice just by her talking normal and then saying my name. Carlos, come this way. You hear me? Then I could focus on it. It was super powerful. And it was like the Father's voice. It's that it doesn't have to be a loud, boisterous thing. It can be a still small voice. But that still small voice actually causes us to focus more.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was focused on was the fact that she said my name. That's what caused me to go, I could hear it then. Ah, my name, my identity is what I was able to connect to. Is super cool.
Yeah.
You're right. So that's powerful.
So I think that's,
great demonstration.
something that if we press into as women, that, during that PMS season week, if you will, and we kind of allow ourselves to press into that, because I think, it's kind of like the dream that we were talking about, as far as the tractor goes. Like, I think a lot of women don't allow ourselves because of the crazy, the perception of crazy, because, I'm over emotional, I'm so sensitive, I'm just irritable. But if we actually like press in deeper, if we press in and we hear what it is that needs to be revealed, right? Whether it's from the Father, whether it's from our own spirit, whether it's something that we have awareness of, that our discernment has not yet been allowed to like bring to the surface, but yet in this moment we're allowing it to.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a gifting that women have that we don't acknowledge. We have that discernment, and we have that sensitivity. It's that spirit, led by the spirit from the gut feeling, right? And we, I'm sure it's not just me, but if we really press into that, and embrace it, man, what can we bring forth? What can we bring forth that our husband might need to hear? What can we bring forth that can improve and can move our family in a direction that is
our kids,
powerful?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what are we missing if we deny it? I think that's a crucial question, is like, what do we miss when we suppress it? What do we miss when we reject it? What do we miss when we reject it?
Yeah.
That's scary, actually.
Yep. All right.
On that note,
we'll see you tomorrow. Coffee Connect. I think she'll be there.
hopefully.
Love you guys. Thanks for support. Love here. And thank you for your belief in what we do. That's why you're here. And that's why we appreciate you so much. So let us know. Let us know if this is beneficial, this processing. All right. See you next time.
Good night.
Good night.